in loser finals. Seeing a couple new weapons coming out on the side of Moist Bread here. We have that Cherry H3 and that Heavy Splatling remix.
The remix is going to be so strong for this because it has that the Booyah Bomb, correct? So it's going to be able to really come in and do a lot of work taking over this zone, especially if they're able to get it right in the center there.
Yeah, I do think it... Is it Booyah Bomb or Bubbles? It's Booyah Bomb. You're right. It is Booyah Bomb. But in any event here, Moist Bread going to go ahead and take that early cap, but they are going to go 3 down in that process. So we'll have Palm Trees here able to kind of cap the zone and hopefully hold off the members of Moist Bread to go for a lead, potentially.
I'm not sure, because right as you say that, Moist Bread is able to take this zone back. As much as it may be premature for them to continue to hold this, they are pushing up, and most of them are in mid right now. Even if they are 1 down, a Ghost is going to pop off that baller right there, but Chica has everything that they're looking for here. They're going to make sure they get that beautiful pick with the Cherry. Absolutely lovely weapon that you were talking about a little bit earlier, too.
Yeah, so Moist Bread here going to be able to cap the zone and extend their lead even further. They've got a couple specials online to continue their push here. Still have 2 ready as Palm Trees tries to get back to the zone and find an opening, but it really doesn't look like they fully have found one yet. Shiny looks like they're trying to get in position here with that Charger to get a couple of picks, but still Palm Trees having a difficulty finding an opening, and the clock is quickly winding down.
It really is. I think this was a really smart play from Moist Bread right there. The moment they saw that rain come out, they popped their own to kind of counteract what was going on. So really, it just is not enough time for Palm Trees to be able to break back in and take over that zone. But they played really well, making sure that they had their specials when ready. So it's just going to be a matter of who's able to move fastest to get this objective done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Moist Bread going to go ahead, taking game 1 there with a couple of these new weapons. So we'll see what the rest of the set has in store for us here. But, I definitely would not count Palm Trees out of it.
I completely agree with you. I think that they were very strong for the last couple of games that I was able to catch from them today. And I think that they're in this to win this. I mean, all of the teams are, but really, they're not going to back down. They just have to maintain their collective focus, which I think is a little bit of what maybe have happened at the end of that match there, that they made a little bit of a dire push because they knew that the time was running out. So they did everything they can. They threw all their specials, and it just wasn't quite enough. So maybe they'll be able to come together a little bit more on Splat Zones on Blackbelly Skate Park and be able to coordinate their specials a little bit more with the rest of the team.
But the other thing to consider is obviously Moist Bread is coming fresh off of that win from Southern Lights, whereas Palm Trees has had to wait a little while since their loss to Tsunami. So don't really know how Palm Trees exactly spent that time, but we definitely know for sure that Moist Bread does have a little bit of momentum heading into this, and that might be playing out in their favor here, especially early in the set. Palm Trees being forced to regroup, kind of get their mindset in the right place to fully go for to try to take some games here.
I completely agree with you there. I think that it's just going to be a little bit of who's going to be able to get fastest lead and hold on to it, because as we see that they were able to go back and forth very quickly, so we'll see what they're going to be able to do on this Splat Zones on Blackbelly Skate Park.
Yeah, so here we go now. Splat Zones on Blackbelly. We do have still more new weapons coming out on the side of Moist Bread. That's actually 3 Sheldon's picks. So really taking advantage of the fact that those weapons are allowed for use in this tournament. And we already saw Chica Sam, a couple of matches ago really pop off with that Grim Range Blaster. So we'll see if they can do it again here.
I think the Grim Range Blaster is a fantastic pick for this because it is able to counteract a lot of the other specials that we had been seeing. Maybe they were hoping to use those missiles to push away someone who's about to pop a Stingray. Maybe they're hoping to just kind of target someone who's in the midst of popping a Booyah, but that right there is, the little bit of a downfall for it when it comes into making sure that you're not right above an enemy when you're about to splash.
Yeah, that splash, I'm just getting caught off. And so Moist Bread is going to really struggle here to take this zone and fully cap. I think they finally will, but Palm Trees are definitely pushing forward here. And are soon going to, mount a comeback, but not after Moist Bread starts to get that lead.
What's really nice about this map is how small these zones are. You saw that they just sort of jumped in with that ball before it was even popped, the zone was taken. So these can transfer over very, very fast if you have at least one member near one of the zones. Those sprinklers do a lot of work to cover very quickly. So that's something that both teams need to be very aware of and ready to kind of handle over and over again.
2-down situation now for Moist Bread here. So we'll see, if they can go ahead and keep going. Get this push, maybe go ahead and go for the lead, but of course it's probably not going to be a very comfortable lead. That Booyah Bomb is going to force Shiny off of that top area. So we'll see here if the members of Moist Bread can open this up.
I think that this is really interesting here because we did talk a little bit about those dualies coming out from Palm Trees earlier, and here they're showing that they can maneuver around this map very, very good. They're getting a lot of picks that they might not have been expected to when they're facing down some of these 1v1s because they're just able to move out of range a lot faster. So this is really what it comes down to. With 29 points all the way down, I think that Booyah Bomb was a little misplaced because maybe it could have taken that other zone, and they just need to kind of fight to put a penalty onto the side of Palm Trees. But they're not going to be able to do with only one man up.
Yeah, Moist Bread does go 3 down there. That'll allow Palm Trees to continue capping the zone and continue getting in a better defensive position here. They're going to go for the knockout here. Really, Moist Bread are going to try to throw everything that they can as possible into this zone. And they're just going to be enough to be able to cap both of those zones and instill that all-important penalty, giving them, or buying them really, a lot more time. Of course, as I say that, Moist Bread goes ahead and caps it again, but it doesn't quite look like they're going to hold on for that long.
They really have a tough time pushing Newt off of this tower here because as we were talking about, using this remix is very, very strong. They have the Booyah in position. Newt can pop it into either zone the moment that it's ready. So I think this is a fantastic placement for them here. It's a lot harder with those double ballers that are coming out, but here we go. This Booyah's a little high, a little bit of a misplace that might have saved this zone for Moist Bread right now.
Yeah, so it looks like the members of Moist Bread here are doing a decent job, but unfortunately that is going to be a whole wipe. So Palm Tree is going to be able to capitalize, instill that penalty on them, and really the opportunity here for Moist Bread to fully make the comeback in this game is slowly dwindling as they're running out of time.
Beautiful triple right there.
4 Ghosts, 4 Palm Trees. Again, shutting down the members here of Moist Bread. So we'll see if Ghost can try to keep this up. I really don't think that the members of Moist Bread know that they are fully here.
No. It's a great spot for Ghost because they can just wait and do that and take out the backliner and the missiles. Wonderful, wonderful double coming in from Ghost just after they had a triple. If they can get this as a delayed triple too, beautiful, beautiful shot there. Not quite able to get that quad because Chris is able to take them out and take the zone, neutralize it at least. And there we go. Take it back for Moist Bread.
Moist Bread, though, here does have their work cut out for them. They're going to need to go really get a lot of their picks coming up if they want to have any chance at making a successful overtime push. But it doesn't quite look like that's going to be able to get done. With just 15 seconds left, they need to go ahead and cap both of these zones, which they don't have at the moment, and then continue pushing. Looks like they're on their way, capping both of these zones. Actually, Ghost is going to go ahead and call them out, and I think that's going to be game there. Yes, it will. Palm Trees now taking the second game.
Really beautiful work from Palm Trees there. I think that first game was their warm-up. They sort of said, okay, like you said, we've taken some time, we've relaxed a little bit, maybe they had some lunch, we're going to fire it back up and push back in for the second Splat Zones game, and they really showed that they have what it takes here, doing a fantastic job of trading that zone over and over again, and really Ghost getting so many of those beautiful picks that was absolutely necessary.
Yeah, so we're going to be seeing here a Game 3 in Splat Zones for this first set to determine who's going to take the early set advantage. Going on now to Port Mackerel. And, Port Mackerel is a very controversial map in a lot of cases.
Why do you say that?
Well, generally,
Is it the stingray problem, possibly?
I've heard people generally don't like dealing with stingrays. And this map makes the perfect opportunity for stingrays to come out in full force, as it is primarily flat. And stingrays can just shoot down those corridors and completely cover one of them, not allowing those members of the opposing members to use that corridor to come right back up. So we'll see here what comes out, how many stingrays we'll see coming out from both of these teams. But it looks like we're going to go ahead and hop into this game.
Here we go, going into the game 3 of our first set. I think the biggest answer to that stingray is going to be if somebody has missiles to kind of force them and push them out of wherever they decide to camp out here. But you're absolutely right with it. We do see a stingray, so it's going to be very, very strong. One from both teams, if I am correct there. And this is going to be a very quick cap for the side of Moist Bread, but Palm Trees is not going to let them hang on to it long, as they're able to take it back over with Shiny helping out with that charger right there.
Yeah, in a lot of situations, sometimes it's the early cap, but I feel like more times than not, it's also, getting set up in the proper position. And maybe you let your opponents take that first cap, but you can immediately get the kills to, disperse of them quite quickly, as we saw there from Palm Trees. But Moist Bread, of course, as I say that, going to go ahead, take back the zone, but the members of Palm Trees aren't going anywhere anytime soon.
They really aren't. They're making sure that they're right in zone. Beautiful pick from Shiny right there. Using this charger to all of its advantage to try to not only get the picks that they need, but create a lot of pressure to make sure that some of these other members of Moist Bread can't quite push back into the zone because they don't really feel safe enough with that charger staring them down.
Ghost, they're going to try to do some work on the rest of the members of Moist Bread, but unfortunately will get taken out after getting about one or two members there. But Palm Trees, all the meanwhile, is going to have a pretty firm grasp here on this zone. Chikase, I'm going to try to put in some work with the H3, but unfortunately not going to be able to find much of anything. That Stingray is also going to come out, like I mentioned earlier, going to try to pick off a couple of members here, is going to pick off Chikase. And unfortunately, we see Moist Bread just not really finding the opening here in this very solid Palm Trees defense.
That's really the thing here. Palm Trees is doing such a fantastic job holding this down. I thought that they were going to be able to cap zone a little bit earlier, but they just didn't have the bodies in zone to do it. Right now, though, they are 3 down on the side of Palm Trees, so that's going to be the flop over for Moist Bread. They're definitely going to take this zone right now with Leland and Newt setting up in mid to make sure that anyone from Palm Trees trying to flank around is going to have a very hard time of it. They have a long way to go, though, K-Bot. A lot of points to tick down right now, and a lot that they need to do to maintain this zone.
Definitely is a long way, and that Stingray isn't going to let them fully be in the positions that they want to be in. Leland going to go ahead and pop bubbles to try to keep the zone, but it's not going to be enough. Palm Trees will take the cap, so Moist Bread needs to continue to regroup and hopefully not get completely locked out again by this Palm Trees, defense. 2.5 minutes left here. Synapse going to try to work forward, keep these members of Moist Bread as far back as possible away from the zone to allow them for a little more breathing room.
Absolutely, making sure that they have as much pressure on possible just ahead of zone, that if Moist Bread decides to push forward, they are met with the strong defensive line of Palm Trees first. I really thought that Booyah with the Inkjet was going to be able to take it, but not quite there. They do end up getting the zone, but, they've only pushed Palm Trees back a very little, and with 2 specials online from them, it's going to be hard fought to keep this zone in control of Moist Bread right now.
Yeah, that baller is going to come in and go ahead and neutralize the zone. Ghost is going to try to do a little more work painting, but it's going to get picked off by Newt. Unfortunately for Moist Bread, the members of Palm Trees will continue picking up, capping the zone again, and still, really showing that they can, even if they lose the zone, they can take it back really quickly because they know when to back off.
Absolutely. I think that was a little bit of a misstep for Leland. They knew that somebody was there, but couldn't quite figure it out, so they decided to go for it anyway. Did get a trade there, but it's not going to be as helpful here. Chris back in mid, making sure that they can keep control of zone for Moist Bread as they continue to put these little penalties onto Palm Trees. It's snowballing into much bigger numbers that Palm Trees have to break down if they need to knock this out. And right now, the time is on their side for Moist Bread, that they would not go into overtime if they're able to take this.
Unfortunately, though, a couple of members of Moist Bread are going to go down there, and that is going to be the cap again for Palm Trees. So Moist Bread still struggling here to fully get a strong push going. And, you know, we've just been seeing really impressive play coming out on the side of Palm Tree. Ghost here, still sharking. I was just going to call out Ghost here, still sharking there, waiting for his opportunity to strike. But, you know, Palm Tree's almost getting the knockout there, but will not. Moist Bread recognizing that they need to rush in as quick as possible. And Moist Bread is going to take this again, so they have one last opportunity here, most likely, to fully cap this zone, you know, fully wind down the clock. Shiny is going to get 2 now with the Stingray. That is going to be a 3-down situation, and I imagine here Palm Trees is just going to go in and paint this zone completely. That will indeed be game. So Palm Trees taking the first set here.
Really wonderful work by Palm Trees there. I am like trying to anticipate what Moist Bread is going to pick for their next set, because they do have a counter pick coming out, but I just can't guess right now. I think based on their weapons comps and the things that they have told us ahead of time that they like to play, you know, they can kind of apply this to anything. So I'm not really sure. What are you thinking, K-Bot? Anything that like jumps out to you as to what counter pick they're going for here?
Well, this jumps out at me because I just asked them and they went ahead and responded. We are going to be going to tower control up next, which to me really makes sense. You know, earlier, the one thing that stood out to me about watching Moist Red play was watching Chica Sim just pop off with that Grim Rage Blaster on that Piranha Pit tower control game. And I imagine they're going to opt for much of the same strategy here in these coming tower control matches against Palm Trees. So we'll see here if they can fully hold off that aggression and just overall strong play we're seeing right now from Palm Trees.
I completely agree with you. It's going to be really nice to be able to see how they're able to manipulate the tower control map that we have coming up here. We're going to be starting on Manta Maria, which, unless I have my maps wrong, sorry. I guess we're going to be starting on Inkblot Art Academy, and we'll see what they're able to do here. That blaster will be very strong on this tower, and obviously Stingrays are always a good one. This is a very nice map too, because they... Right, so I wasn't crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. There might have been a slight misreading here.
Yeah, it seems as though the wrong map was picked. So as far as I know, we are going to reset the lobby.
We'll have a slight delay in getting this next set underway here. But, you know, so we saw earlier Palm Trees was really able to do an excellent job, especially in those last 2 games, of just overall locking out the zone from these members of Moist Bread. Do you think they're going to be able to do the same thing in tower control on these next couple of maps that we're going to see, or what do you think the deal with that is?
I think that they're going to have a really tough time. It looks like they're playing it out, so... No?
I don't...
It's hard to tell.
I don't think they are.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
They're definitely not at this point.
At first I was like, wait,
it's been
what?
We're all good.
Yeah, they're just gonna knock this out very quickly. But I do think that the Palm Tree has been doing a fantastic job of making sure they constantly have map control, which makes it much more difficult for Moist Bread to be able to get throughout the map. And it makes it very easy for, as we've seen, Ghosts to do a lot of work by sharking around and getting those picks when they're not quite paying attention there. So it could be best in their interest to be able to, on the terms of Moist Bread, get as much map control as possible at all points of the game. Tower control is much more solid in terms of that because you can focus on objective while still painting and moving throughout the map. The harder part to it is that you have to focus on objective, which is something that some of the teams seem to lack a little bit. So it's going to be fun to see what they do decide to do here, and when we get into the right map, what's going on.
Yeah, indeed. So we should be going here to Manta Maria. So, of course, I imagine from both sides, we're going to be seeing a Stingray, probably a pretty given as far as tower control is concerned. But what other weapons do we think that these players are going to opt for?
Well, I'm thinking we're going to continue to kind of see what we've seen thus far. I think Synapse is going to stay with those dualies that they've been using, Ghost as well. I'm expecting we're going to see a very similar comp from Moist Bread as we just saw. So, continue with this range that they've been showing. A lot of these weapons that are able to kind of take over from distance. It's a lot harder on Manta Maria because you don't have even sight lines to be able to go with some of the chargers. But if you can set up and you can pick off your opponents over and over again from a nice block, you'll be able to handle it very well.
Indeed. So looks like we've got our members here of each of these teams still deliberating here. Maybe that map change kind of, threw a couple of the members off. They weren't fully expecting it. So taking their moment to discuss here strategies in regards to this map and perhaps this upcoming set. But looks like that timer is ticking down for us. We're going to go ahead and hop right into this. Palm Trees has the set advantage, so they only need one more set here. And this could be their opportunity to do it. But of course, this is the counter pick of Moist Bread. So we'll see what comes out of this set and how it plays into the match as a whole. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Chica Sam is going to be going over to that Grim Range Blaster. So we'll see if they can really put in work here for Moist Bread.
And just like we were talking about earlier as well, we are going to see 3 dualies on the side of Palm Trees, so they're going to have a lot of maneuverability. Their 4th weapon being Shiny's Charger right there, who does go down very quickly to Chris's dualies, so it's going to be a very challenge. Chris gets a double there, and this is where Chris now needs to stay alive in order to help the rest of the team kind of push this objective forward and wait for Palm Trees to begin to respawn back in.
Palm Trees, they're going in a 3-down situation, but I think there might have been a slight miscommunication there for Moist Bread as no one was fully riding tower. They do clear the checkpoint, though, so no major worries here. We'll see if they can go ahead and try to clear another, but a lot of bombs and everything coming in for the members of Palm Trees right now to try to defend this push. There's a 1v1 happening on the other side, but Ghost is going to go ahead and take care of that. And still, a lot of fighting around the tower. Doesn't quite look like this checkpoint's going to get cleared at the moment.
Unfortunately, not. The tower is going to reset, and Shiny is just taking advantage of this nice positioning that they have right there. Try to get a couple of picks of whoever is riding the tower. Ooh, there's that blaster talk you were talking about. Beautiful, beautiful direct there.
Beautiful direct indeed. This will allow Moist Bread the opportunity here to clear this second checkpoint, which may help them out. That Ray is going to come in, though, probably not let them go any further, but, the checkpoints here are extremely crucial.
They absolutely are, because this is such a fast tower control map. It moves very, very quickly. Any checkpoint you're able to clear, even if you aren't able to kind of maintain lead from that, is going to help you move in a secondary or tertiary push as you continue to go. So this is a great job for being able to clear all the way up to that 3rd checkpoint. And we'll see what they're able to do now if Palm Trees is able to push this back. Or Moist Bread.
No, so Moist Bread is currently in the lead here.
I meant, yeah.
Yeah. That is going to be a full wipe, though, onto Moist Bread. So this will allow Palm Trees the opportunity to at least get past this first checkpoint. Let's see if they can win this second team fight here to open up the door for a further push. It looks like here we have Chris going to go ahead and take out one of the members there. That's 2-down situation for Palm Trees, so not the most comfortable position to continue pushing forward in, and it doesn't look like they're going.
I think they just need a little bit of time to regroup here and take their time to build up some more specials before they make a bigger push. It seems as though they're constantly going 2 down on the side of Palm Trees, so it's very difficult for them to push back forward when they are continuously at a staggered spawn situation. And, you know, that's kind of what Moist Bread is doing what they can to make sure that that continues to happen for their opponents.
All right. Meanwhile, here we have Moist Bread going to go ahead and try to hop on the tower here. They are going to pop a couple of their specials and get a couple of them ready. They might be going to try to clear this third checkpoint and extend their lead. That is going to be a full wipe on the side of Palm Trees. So this will allow the door to be open a little more. They do need a couple of more kills here to fully get past this checkpoint and go for the knockout here. Chris is going to get shiny, so that is going to be an important pick for them. But it doesn't look like there's anyone standing on tower right now for them.
They are right there, though. Leland does go down, so that's going to be much, much more difficult. Someone did jump in. Chris did jump in and is able to kind of race after this tower before they can get it as far away as they might want. Gets a nice pick there, but unfortunately gets taken out from behind by Ghost. So this is the opportunity that Palm Trees has been waiting for right now. They just have no map control to be able to move throughout this very confidently.
Very true here, but hopefully, with those sets of dualies, they can turn that around here pretty soon. A minute left, though, for Palm Trees to try to get a push happening, build up the specials that they need here to, make a full push all the way to that third checkpoint and 15 points to go. But, they're slowly running out of time here, and we're still seeing much of the map control for Moist Bread really holding down ground, especially where they need it the most, heading into that second checkpoint.
You're completely right. Look at where Synapse is just sharking right here, waiting for the perfect opportunity to pop up and make sure that they can cause a fantastic nuisance for this member of Moist Bread over here. Sorry, I keep getting the colors mixed up. So Chica Sam, though, doing a great job staying alive from that Splat Bomb and using this Grim Blaster in exactly the way that you had mentioned here. Back on the tower, Moist Bread is ready to kind of make this push, possibly what could be their last, as they continue to ride it. All they need to do is touch it, and that is game.
That is indeed game. So the counter pick at the moment playing out in Moist Bread's favor. They will take that first game, in pretty convincing fashion on the whole. They did get that strong push, and they were about to go for even more there for a bit. Chris actually putting in plenty of work of their own that match, going for a 19 splats and assists. Impressive stuff.
It really, really is. Chris was doing a lot of work to make sure that they were constantly maneuvering and in a really good position to just continue to keep that pressure up, getting as many splats as possible. So going into this next game, it's going to be Mako Mart, which is a very, very different map than Manta Maria. What are your thoughts in terms of changing things up for this one, K-Bot?
Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. It seems like I wonder if they could just try to get a little more paint down in general. I don't know if that's a composition change or more of a mindset change. Get a little more paint down, get a little more, specials at the ready and available for Palm Trees to really take advantage of in order to, play a little more aggressive and ride that tower a little further. But we'll see here what comes out from both of these teams.
Absolutely. We certainly will see what comes out from both of these teams here and what they might decide to do. Maybe it's time to swap off of one of those dualies and make a push to kind of get something that's going to put a little more ink down onto the map here.
Indeed, here looks like we're just about ready to start. Again, teams taking their time as they well should here. But
this could be what the game that Moist Bread is able to take, giving them this set, or the beginning of Palm Trees taking their first game on this set. So they should take their time and figure out exactly what they want to do here, what weapons are going to give them the best opportunity to push forward.
Yeah, so here we are heading into the set. Of course, Palm Trees, has that 1 set advantage already. So Moist Bread does need the next 2 games. We'll see what happens, in this game. Every game obviously is important. So looks like Nanine gonna go ahead and switch over to that Kensa Undercover Umbrella. So we'll see here as both these teams approach the tower.
We definitely will. Synapse just sharking right here, waiting for the perfect opportunity to take out whoever was on the tower, using those dualies to dodge roll their way out of trouble. But unfortunately, Chris does get them and take them out, and is going to begin to pave the way for the rest of their team to push forward and pop this ball, catching that Kensa Undercover Umbrella and just taking out as many as he possibly can.
Yeah, if I'm a Kensa Undercover Umbrella in that situation, I'm not quite sure that I want to face a baller head on, but unfortunately didn't have much of a choice there. It was kind of cornered. But, Moist Bread here did go ahead and get past that first checkpoint, which isn't going to be the most important thing, but it is a start nonetheless here. Palm Trees, it looked like they had a little bit of a strategy, but it might not have been executed the best overall.
It really seems as though that was, I was waiting for, something else to move within that charger, but Synapse just doing a lot of what they seem to be doing best there, sort of sharking around, waiting for something. Newt decides to jump out to stay safe and find an operative moment to launch that Stingray, but not going to quite be able to do it. There it goes. So it's going to come out just in time, but not really cover tower enough for Moist Bread to be able to create a very strong push right now.
Yes, that was a little bit of an interesting exchange there for Moist Bread, in my opinion. We saw that Stingray come out, and we saw the Ink Armor come out. It looked like they were trying to just push the members of Palm Trees back as far as possible, and then try to hop on the tower themselves there. But it didn't quite look like they got the picks that they want. It looks like, though, Palm Trees, there's no one on tower right now. They're not quite... Okay, they will clear that checkpoint finally, and that will be the lead for them, even if it is small at the moment. But here we have Shiny riding the tower, for Palm Trees here as they approach this second checkpoint. They're doing a pretty good job overall of just staying on the offensive here.
This second checkpoint is crucial. Being able to get through that was an absolutely fantastic run on this map. And even if they're not able to get much farther, as they do go 3 down, the only one alive right there is Ghost. It was a fantastic push from them. Bringing their lead all the way to 16 is something to be very proud of right now.
That Heavy does have Stingray at the ready, but it looks like the members of Palm Trees are just going to kind of retreat, let the tower come back a little bit. They know now that they're in a pretty good situation overall. The members of Moist Bread do have to get through a whole nother checkpoint. Newt is going to pop that Stingray kind of at a surprising time for me. I'm not quite sure if that was the wisest decision, as now you're rendered without a Stingray. But here now we have the members of Moist Bread going to go ahead, hop on the tower, try to push forward as they need to go back and try to take over the second checkpoint and go for a further push.
This is something we saw in an earlier tower control game, and I think an earlier game today, that they don't quite seem to have the communication set for who's supposed to be riding tower at all time, which allows them to lose focus of objective over and over again. So it could be kind of the downfall of why we're seeing Moist Bread struggle a little bit right now, is maybe they need to up their communication as to who should be pushing tower continuously.
Yeah, so unfortunately there, that situation for Moist Bread isn't quite going to work out, and Palm Trees is going to go ahead and try to push forward here. Shiny was riding the tower, but I believe they got taken out for a moment or otherwise distracted. Ghost is going to put in work on a couple of members here of Moist Bread, but the tower is in a neutral position. Moist Bread has to get back into mid and fully push here if they want a chance of winning this game.
They will have to do so very quickly, too. They have less than a minute left, which is still enough time, but they are going to go into overtime in order to make this push. So they have to be ready with all of their specials to defend and to, use them to defend their push and continue to move forward. They do have a Stingray online. Let's see if they're able to... No, unfortunately, it goes down before they can use it to help them with this push.
Yeah, so 3 down there situation. Actually, a wipe now at this point for Moist Bread. And it looks like Palm Trees here are going to probably run away with this one. Ride the tower a little bit, stay close to that tower. Ghost is going to go ahead and pop baller, try to pick off a couple of members here of Moist Bread. It does indeed look like that is probably going to be game so long as Palm Trees can hold on and hop on the tower when necessary. They are Moist Bread is going to go ahead and force overtime. So they do have the opportunity here as a 2-down situation now as Synapse is in pretty good position. I don't think any of the members see him coming.
What? No, doesn't quite have time for it. But beautiful triple by Synapse there. Exactly as you said, they didn't see him coming and they were able to kind of move around as quickly as possible to, even though they tried to get overtime, it just wasn't quite enough.
So Palm Trees going to go ahead and take that game, and we're going to another game 3.
We certainly are.
So heading into the next game, we are going to be seeing, if I can get my map list correct, the Reef Tower Control. So what do you expect to see here?
I think we're going to see much of the same. We haven't really seen any change up coming out from Palm Trees. So I think we're going to continue to see those dualies going in. It worked really well for them on that last map, but not as well on the first. So I feel as though the Reef has a little bit more of a lean closer to Manta Maria, where it has a lot more valleys and elevations that you have to get through in order to get to your goal. So we might find that this is a similar situation as to that first game within this set. And maybe that's an opportunity that Palm Trees needed to take to change up what they're doing. Seems as though they're talking right now, using time to their advantage to see what could be the best option for them. And we'll see what they do.
Palm Trees, ideally doesn't want to let this go to a third set here. They'd like to shut this out now and move on to face Tsunami in grand finals. And of course, Moist Bread has to win this game to keep their tournament hopes and circuit hopes, for that matter, alive. So we'll see what comes out of this game. Looks like much the same, except we do see a scary, spooky fish head coming out from Newt.
The scary, spooky fish head, to be sure, a little bit of a nod to how much fun everybody is having, right? These fresh fish heads is a fantastic way to show off your pride for whatever mascot team they come with. But we're going to see what they decide to do in using that and what abilities that can kind of help them with here. 2 specials online for Moist Bread right now. The Ray coming out for Palm Trees, but they don't quite have anything to answer for it yet, and they decide to go for the tower anyway. Not really a good position, and going to cost them their life right there.
Palm Trees is going to have the main advantage at the moment as they look to try to get some more turf control here of the middle of the map, which it doesn't quite look like they fully have before they start pushing forward here. It looks like that Stingray is going to come out, though, so that they can't even think about really pushing forward. And Nanita, of course, is going to get called out by a couple of things there. But a 3-down situation now coming in for Moist Bread will allow the window of opportunity to open for Palm Trees to make a push.
It is the opportunity for Palm Trees to kind of move forward, but Shiny has this Stingray and is going to pop it and hold it right over top of tower to keep all of their teammates safe and make sure that they can't quite get as many as they're going for here. They don't get any picks, but sometimes that's okay. As long as you can create defense for the rest of your team on the tower, they are able to push it to 55, which is the lead for them, but it's not going to be enough to get through that second checkpoint, which is really where it's quite safe on this map.
Yeah, Shiny was trying to stall that out for as long as possible, but unfortunately is going to get caught off guard by that Stingray. So the tower will reset back to neutral, and Moist Bread now has the center of the map much in their control, and it looks like many of the members of Palm Trees are respawning at the moment, so they will be given that opportunity to make a push here and maybe try to go for the second checkpoint.
They'll have to deal with Newt first on top of this tower. Very, very close. Newt decides to jump out even though Chris was right there. A little bit of a misplay on my opinion because they could have pushed it a little bit further and possibly gone for that lead. But no, they decide to jump back and it's going to reset the tower back to mid right now because everyone of Palm Trees is ready and waiting for this tower to come back and for them to push it back forward.
Yeah, unfortunate situation there. It was, it's a difficult decision to make to try to pick off some of the members of Palm Trees with that Stingray or to just keep going forward. But nonetheless here, Palm Trees looking to make a push of their own here. Chris pushing up extremely far, but is going to go off, is going to go down to Nanine with that Brella. Looks like 2 members down now for Moist Bread, so this might allow the opportunity for Palm Trees to keep going, but they didn't quite get to clearing that second choice point. They're going to have to restart it again after perhaps a slight miscommunication.
They will need to restart that here, but they are able to get it this time, so this puts them in a very commanding lead position. They do have the strength here. They have map control. Unfortunately, this Brella not quite able to get the picks that they're going for, and this is going to begin the reset for Moist Bread to bring this tower back to mid. They don't quite have map control yet, so maybe they'll be able to do it as they ride the tower back, but they will have to do a lot of work in order to move throughout this map very confidently.
Yeah, they've got quite a bit of work cut out for them, and time is slowly ticking down for the opportunity for a push to be made on the side of Moist Bread. But they are looking to do so here. It doesn't look like, or it looks like we're starting to see them ride the tower a little more here. The members are around the tower trying to get some of the members of Palm Trees, but that's a little more difficult to do with that ink armor out. The Booyah Bomb is going to come in, but it doesn't look like it's quite going to find anyone. Ghost is going to get a couple members there, and it looks like going to shut down that put.
Beautiful shot there. Ghost responsible for making that a team wipe, and the tower is going to reset with less than 40 seconds or 45 seconds left of this map. It's going to be a really tough one for Moist Bread to be able to push this all the way back.
Indeed here, but they might have one last opportunity. The members of Palm Trees do have a couple of specials at the ready. A couple specials on both sides, really, for something to happen. So it looks like those are both going to be popped. Shiny going to hop back to spawn, make sure that that Stingray is saved for whenever Moist Bread does decide to hop on this tower. And it looks like the win condition is almost fulfilled here for Palm Trees.
I completely agree. Moist Bread has a lot of work that they need to do. They did get someone is jumping in, and they have another teammate very, very close, so they could have an opportunity to push this, but the Stingray's online on the side of Palm Trees, and Shiny is just waiting. There it goes, going for the picks of the support there. The reverse ray from the other team comes in, but Shiny gets 2, and that's not going to leave a lot of opportunity for Moist Bread to continue to take this tower.
So close and a narrow margin there as Ghost did go down, but Palm Trees will go ahead and secure that tower just barely. Almost really well done there for Moist Bread, but unfortunately not quite going to be enough. Palm Trees going to go ahead, take the game, take the set, and take the match.